Hi everybody, and welcome to my first video of my personal Globe 40 recap series. It's been a month now since the Globe 40 race finished, and I thought it's a good time to go through all the stages. For everyone who doesn't know anything about the Globe 40 is a double-handed race around the world in 6 stages. It is sailed on class 40s. Double-handed means there's only 2 people on board, and the race goes from Lorient in France one time around the world via the 3 Great Capes, which are Cape of Good Hope, Cape Lewin, and Cape Horn, and back to Lorient in France. The Globe 40 race started in September 25 and it finished just 1 month ago in April 26. The boats we raced on are called Class 40. The boats are all built in a box rule, so they are actually the same boats, but there are different generations. My boat, the number 93, was the oldest boat in the fleet, but also the most beautiful one, I would say. And she was doing very, very well, considering that she was the oldest boat. We were quite a small fleet. We were 8 boats that started, and of these 8 boats, there are 3 boats that are scow class 40s, so they have a very round bow, and 5 boats with a classic sharp bow. And yeah, you can't really compare these 2 categories, so when I'm talking about our position in the race, it's always in our category, which is the sharp category, so we have 5 boats in this class. And then the 3 other boats, the scows, they just did their own race. They are so fast. They are like a different kind of boat. So just for you to understand when I'm talking about positions, we are in the classic category with a normal sharp bow. But still amazing boats. The Class 40s are real race machines for offshore racing. And I have to say, in all the race around the world, I haven't had a second where I thought I should not be here right now with this kind of boat. So for me, the Class 40 is just perfect. Especially my boat, Wilson. She's just a perfect boat for that. Yeah, if you want to know more about Class 40s, just Google them. It's very interesting and they are amazing boats. And yeah, there's no comfort on them. It's all about racing and lightweight, and yeah, but they are so much fun. So just Google them if you want to know more about them. And now to the race, to the start of the race with the prologue in the beginning of September last year. The prologue is more like a warm-up race and more for promotion. So we were allowed to have guests on board, up to 2 guests. And it took us from Lorient in France to Cadiz in Spain, which is about 1,000 miles. And it took us about 4 days. And our guests on board were my mom, who loves sailing as much as I do, and who supported me in everything I do. And then the other guest was Sebastian, who believed in me and supported my project from the beginning. So it was really a pleasure to have them on board, although we had no experience in sailing the boat with 4 people, so it was quite exciting, but it was really nice to have them on board. So when we arrived, my co-skipper Jade and I, when we arrived in Lorient for the race start, I have to say we were quite intimidated in the beginning. We arrived in the middle of the night, so when we were walking around on the pontoon with our head torches to look at the other Class 40s there, it was intimidating. My boat really was the oldest in the harbor, the oldest Class 40, and all the other boats looked so different and so much faster, and they all have more protected cockpits, and the cockpit of my boat, of Wilson, is very open and big. So yeah, we were wondering, what the hell are we doing here, actually? But yeah, the next days we got used to it and we got we found back our confidence in the boat and in us, and we were just excited to start soon. And we finished all the last minute preparations. We did safety checks, briefings, safety briefings, weather briefings, everything. And then, because of a big low pressure system in the Biscay, the race start was postponed for 4 days.
Tuesday, maybe Thursday.
Which was a good thing, and we were all quite happy about it, because everybody knows that the Biscay can be a very bad place to be. And it was the start of a very long race, a race around the world. So we were happy that we could skip this low pressure system and wait a little bit. So 4 days late we started. It was a good start. It was quite windy. It was upwind. It was exciting. Yeah, we were just really happy to finally be on the water, because the last year was all about preparation and refitting the boat. And it was very stressful. We didn't know until the end if we can make it to the start line. So we were very, very proud that we made it in the end, and that we can finally sail the boat. And we had no experience on a class 40. We didn't sail much with this boat because we mostly worked on the boat to get her ready. So she was on the dry. We didn't know how we would feel in the fleet, if we would perform well. And since my boat was the only second generation boat in the fleet, all the other boats were newer, we thought that we maybe just sail behind everyone and just follow them. But we did much better than we thought. And we just had a really good time. So the first 2 or 3 days were a bit rough, because at Cape Finisterre we still had a low pressure system with more than 30 knots of wind and all upwind. And at Cape Finisterre you have very steep, big waves. So that was very uncomfortable, and the crew suffered a little bit from seasickness, but not for a long time. And so that was rough. But after Cape Finisterre, we waited for the wind shift, and we could finally hoist first the code 0 and then the SPI, and then we were just flying. It was amazing. We could push the boat really hard, find out where the limits are. We were still learning the boat because we had no experience. So this was a very good leg of the race to start to feel the boat and really try all the sails, which were new. And yeah, she was flying along the Spanish coast. It was just amazing. It was flat water, very gusty, and with 30 knots of wind, we were flying with the SPI more than 20 knots in the Prologue. So we were very stunned, actually, about what the boat can do. And we knew that there is still a lot to come. And yeah, we were very happy. Life on board was very good. It was a small space with 4 people, but we got used to it. It was a good mood. Everybody enjoyed it. It was a new thing to all of us. Our only worry in this race was the orcas. I don't know if you heard about it, but there's a Spanish group of orcas who like to eat the rudders of sailboats. Since COVID, I think. It started in COVID times. And yeah, they are the reason why I bought 2 spare rudders for a lot of money. We had 1 spare rudder on board in case we hit something. So we were going to take this 1 rudder around the world anyways. And the other rudder was ready in Lorient in a container in case we meet orcas who are hungry and eat both our rudders. Because the critical area is along the Spanish coast and along the Portuguese coast. So we were going exactly through this area, and Cadiz is in a hotspot just in front of the entry to the Strait of Gibraltar. So yeah, it was a weird feeling. We were sneaking through this area hoping not to meet any orcas. Although I've been dreaming since I can think to see orcas, but not with my project, with such an expensive project where I invested so much time and energy, and not the Spanish ones. I would be happy to see orcas, but not these ones. And yeah, so we were ready mentally with 2 spare rudders, but luckily we didn't see any orcas, not even from a distance. And yeah, it was all good. So the next critical point will be leaving Cadiz to go to the Cape Verdes, and then we would be out of orca territory. And yeah, we were lucky. In the end, we finished, after I think a bit more than 4 days, we finished in 3rd place, just 2 minutes behind the second one. And that only due to a mistake of us, which was a good lesson for us for the rest of the race, that you should never feel too safe in your position before you finish. So the boat who finished 2 minutes in front of us just overtook us before the finish line because we thought we are safe. And then their AIS didn't work well and we couldn't see them on the AIS, and then they suddenly were there and with a different angle and we couldn't do anything. So that was a good lesson. And yeah, we finished 3rd. We were extremely happy. It was a very good start for us to see what we can do, how we perform, how does the boat perform. And we were ready for everything that will come, because the next leg would be the real start of the double-handed race around the world, with the first leg from Cadiz to the Cape Verdes. And yeah, we'll talk about that in the next video. If you don't want to miss out on it, don't forget to click on subscribe. I would be happy about that. And see you in the next one.